Hi guys, my name is Salma and this is my first vlog. So last year around June, my mother-in-law asked me if I would tell my father-in-law that I was pregnant as a joke. So I told her okay. Then I began to realize that I hadn't got my period. My period was irregular. I would only get it every 2 months. So I thought maybe I was just late, or maybe the 2 months hasn't came yet. So I got a pregnancy test just to be sure, and it came out negative. So I was like, I'll just wait and see if I get my period. So like a week goes by and I still haven't got my period. So I decide that I'm going to take another pregnancy test. So I take my second pregnancy test and it also comes out negative. I still haven't got my period and I'm so confused, and I told my boyfriend, like, I think I'm pregnant. And I told my mom I think I'm pregnant, and she told me, you really want a baby, huh? And I'm like, no, like, I just think I'm pregnant. I haven't got my period yet. I had been telling my friend that I wanted to get a pregnancy test and I wanted to go to the clinic and get a pregnancy test, and she happened to have one in her car, so she gave it to me. So I took the pregnancy test when I got home and it came out positive. And then I told my boyfriend, well, I was upstairs and I didn't want to go back downstairs because I was like, oh my god, what am I going to tell him? So he came up there and I showed him the pregnancy test and he was like, oh my god. And I was like, yeah. So I told him, let's go to the store and buy 2 more pregnancy tests so we can make sure. So we go to our local Walmart and I got the clear blue pregnancy test, and I took another one that night and it also came out positive. I waited till the next morning to take the third one and it also came out positive. So I decided that before work that day I was going to go to the clinic and get a pregnancy test done there. So I went to the clinic that day and they made me pee in a cup, and they asked me when my last period was, and I told them it was sometime in March, and they told me based on my last period I was 7 weeks and 3 days. So and I called into work because I could not go to work after just hearing that I'm pregnant. So I came home and I told my boyfriend, I'm like, I need to talk to you. So we go upstairs and I show him the little paper that says that I'm pregnant. So I told my mom and I told my sister before I had told my boyfriend, and his mom had just got home and I was like, we need to tell her, and he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna say. And so we told my boyfriend's mom, and she said that she already assumed that I was pregnant. She wasn't really mad, she just already knew. And my mom was disappointed, but she became excited after, so she could see this little bundle of joy. She was so happy for her to meet this little bundle of joy. Huh, look at me, so happy. Here you go, baby. You don't want your binky? So I told most of my family. The only person I hadn't told was my dad. But I told him and he had a very bad reaction, and I just didn't want to deal with him, so I blocked him. I blocked his number. I wasn't going to talk to him. I was just kind of fed up. So my boyfriend's dad was out of town, and we sent him a picture of the little paper that said that I was pregnant, and he never texted us back. He didn't believe us because at first it was a joke, and his sister had told him that we were just lying, that we were not really pregnant. After that, like a month later, I go for my first ultrasound, and I got to see my little tiny baby. He was like this big, and I found out that I was only 8 weeks and 3 days. So initially when I found out I was pregnant, I was only 4 weeks and 3 days. So everyone was trying to guess if I was gonna have a boy because my boyfriend's family is only boys. So at my 8-week appointment for the ultrasound, they sent me down to go get my blood drawn. So I went and got my blood drawn, and they tested my blood sugar, and when I went to my 12-week appointment, they told me that they wanted me to go take the glucose test because my blood sugar was high and I had a history of diabetes in my family. So I told them okay, and they ordered the 3-hour glucose test. So I went to my local clinic, and I tried doing the 3-hour, and about 30 minutes after I drank the drink, I went to go run an errand, and I had to pull on the side of the road and throw up. I had morning sickness throughout my pregnancy till I was 5 months, so if I didn't eat before even drinking water, I would throw up. So when I threw up, I didn't really have anything in my stomach because I had to fast for 8 hours. So I had to go back to the clinic and tell them that I couldn't do the test because I was throwing up, and if you throw up, the test is invalid. So they told me that they would tell my doctor, and she would have to figure out a different way to get my blood sugar. So at my next appointment, they just drew my blood, and that was that. Well, then a couple weeks go by, and it was almost time for my next appointment, and they asked me if I wanted to change to someone who was from the hospital that I was going to deliver at, but closer to my house, because my doctor that I was going to was about 45 minutes away, and this one was like 10-15 minutes away. So I told them yeah, and I changed to a different doctor, and she sent me to this class for diabetics so I could get like a little learning of it, I guess. And I got a book and a glucometer, and I was supposed to take my blood every day, 3 times a day for the rest of my pregnancy. But I asked her if I had to do it, and she told me no, so I did it. So when I was around 26 weeks, she asked me if I could do the 1-hour glucose test. So I told her okay, and I did it, and I did it fine. It went smooth, but my blood sugar was still high. So she told me that she wanted me to try and do the 3-hour test. So I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I already knew I was gonna throw up. I was like, okay, so I went to the clinic and I started doing the 3-hour test. And I drank the drink, and I came to my house, and as soon as I walked in my bathroom, I threw up the drink all in my bathtub. It was so disgusting. So I had to drive back down to the clinic and tell them that I couldn't take the test and that it was invalid. So they called my doctor and they told her that I couldn't take the test and that I threw up again. So she said that she wanted to wait a week and I would do it again. But I told them no, that I refused to do so. I was not drinking that nasty drink again. So I told her, well, can I do something else to get the blood sugar? And I told her I heard about the jelly bean test, but she said that she didn't know if it was accurate. So she decided that I was going to use the glucometer and I would take my blood sugar 3 times a day, every day for a week. So I began to do that and I only did it for 3 days and I gave her the results and she told me she wanted me to do it for 4 more days. So I was like, okay. My next appointment, I gave her all the numbers and she came to the conclusion that I didn't have gestational diabetes, which is pregnancy diabetes for those of you that don't know. So after that, I was already like 32 weeks. I only had 8 weeks left of my pregnancy and I could finally meet my little baby boy. So the rest of my pregnancy was smooth. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, share, and stay tuned for more videos.